Listen up, people. That's right. It's time to listen to the sparks of bliss in your life. I'm your host and life coach, Caroline de Posada from Miami, Florida. And this podcast is an invitation to join me in upgrading our mindset, wellness, and relationships so that together we create a life that unlocks our bliss. Join me each week as we explore practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the moments of clarity, or as we like to call them, los momenticos, that make the world a little more magical. Consider this your weekly dose of wisdom in your pocket. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hey, listeners, welcome to episode number 21 of Blissin' Up. So today is actually the official first day of fall. Now, I've been talking about fall since September 1st because I was so excited to get into the fall season and talk about my September theme, which has been Simply Soulful September. So I've been talking about fall all these weeks, but today is actually the first day of fall. So happy fall. I hope you guys are having a wonderful September and that you are just as excited to step into this season as I have been anticipating it and getting into the energy of it and welcoming it with open arms. So I hope you're feeling the same way. Now, if you listened to the podcast episode in which I discussed the theme for September, the theme I chose was Simply Soulful September. And I've talked a lot about that, so I'm not going to talk about it today, but I thought it was a very interesting thing what happened to me this week because it just continues to re-emphasize to me the importance of living with intention. Now, if you follow me on Instagram or you read my emails, you may know that this weekend I attended the Summit of Greatness. And the Summit of Greatness is an event that's put together by Lewis Howes. He also has an incredible podcast with incredible experts on all different types of topics, right? That, to live a life of greatness. So Lewis Howes puts together this event and brings these powerhouses to speak at this event. And I've been attending this event since 2019. The event is in September every year, which again, sometimes you don't notice things until they happen and you look at them in hindsight or you look at them from like a collective lens instead of an individual one. But this year, when I was getting ready to attend with this theme of Simply and Soulful September, I thought, oh, this is like the best conference ever that lands in September because it really does feel to me like just the most soulful conference that I've ever been to in my whole life. And I've been to a bunch of personal development events, but this one has a real special place in my heart. It has a way of filling up my cup. I love going. I love the women that I attend with. I just think it's a wonderful event and it's the best 2 days ever. I love it. So I thought, oh, how wonderful that it's in September. It's totally simple and soulful. And it was just like very aligned with my theme. And then I got to the conference, and the conference used to be held. I started going in 2019 and it was held in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, which is where Lewis Howes is from. And although it may not feel like Ohio is a super hot spot to attend, there was something about the location that was very simple and very cozy and very warm and just absolutely wonderful. So the conference was like in this little yummy theater that was absolutely spectacular. The hotel that everyone stayed at was within walking distance of the theater. In between the theater and the conference, there was this little courtyard area, and during lunchtime or in the mornings before the event started or even afterwards, people would sit in that courtyard area, and there was a lot of time for connection and meaning. The whole event was just very warm and yummy and simple and soulful. And that was the vision that I had in my head of going to this conference. But this year, Lewis Howes has scaled. He's gotten bigger. He's going for bigger dreams, and that changed the location of the conference. So this year it was held in LA. And when I arrived, I had the vision of Ohio, but the experience was LA, which is big airport, lots of traffic, ungodly amounts of traffic. There was like a very intense energy, a lot of people. The conference was double the size. We were staying in a hotel that wasn't right next to the conference center because, well, I don't know that there is a hotel right next to that particular conference center, but many of the hotels were sold out. So we stayed at a hotel that was like in downtown LA, which means we had to take public transportation to get to the conference. So it didn't feel simple at all. And it felt very like intense and bigger and a little bit uncomfortable. And what I thought was important about this was that because I had that vision of what it had been, I could have been attached to that and just focused on everything that this was not. But because I had the theme of Simply Soulful September, I kept bringing myself back to looking for the simplicity and looking for the soulfulness of the event. And I found it in the event. So granted, there was a lot of traffic and there was a lot of people and all these other things, but my intention and my focus was looking for evidence of the simple parts, of the soulful parts. And the event did not disappoint. There was incredible speakers. I got an incredible message. I had so many opportunities for reflection. I had moments of connection with the people that I loved. It was wonderful. Now, did I miss the Ohio experience? A little bit. I did miss the Ohio experience, but I don't regret that I was there and I wasn't hung up on that experience. And that's something that we have to think about in life is oftentimes we carry past experiences with nostalgia when they've been really wonderful. And if a current experience doesn't match up to the past experience and you remember that experience with so much nostalgia, it could create like this bittersweet, moment for you. But you get to choose how you're going to show up and the intention and the energy and what you're going to focus on and what evidence you're going to look for in this moment and in this event. And although there were things that I missed about the other one, I decided to be fully present and I got to enjoy a lot of beautiful things. Like we ate at some incredible restaurants. We ate at this one restaurant called The Girl and the Goat. I literally had the best beet salad that I've ever had in my entire life, ever. We ate at a rooftop restaurant called The Perch, if I'm not mistaken, and there was live music, there were lights, there was this incredible view. It was like a breezy, perfect weather. I was surrounded by good food and good people, and it was a spark of bliss in that moment. I was just like, oh my God. What else? The sitting in the conference, being in the presence of the incredible speakers. I was in the presence of watching Rachel Platten sing. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rachel Platten, but if you haven't, she wrote the Fight song, and she opened the conference with a little bit of, with a performance. Like she played the piano and she sang, but she also spoke a little bit and she shared her story. She was my favorite performer of the entire event. I fell in love with her. She is angelic and authentic and beautiful. And the song that she sang was so powerful. I just absolutely loved her. So I think she just released a new album on Spotify. I'm going to put her album on my show notes because I'm all about spreading the good in this world, and this woman is all goodness. She's just all good. So I'm going to put it on there. I invite you to listen to two songs. One is Girls and the other one is Bad Thoughts. Both songs are absolutely amazing. So I invite you to listen to those Again, go into the show notes. But anyway, so I'm here and I'm looking for all this evidence of simple and simplicity and soulfulness, and I am fully present in the moment. And one of the things that we do at that conference is we create an intention for the conference. And I was like, okay, well, my intention today is what my word of the year has been, is to listen, right? Like be present, listen for, for the connect the dots, listen for the things that I need to take away from this experience. And as I was sitting there, I had this download, this thought, which is, think back to the very first time that I ever attended the Summit of Greatness. It was in 2019. And connect the dots as to all the things that have changed in my life since I went to that conference. And here is what I learned. In 2019, I used to overcomplicate everything in life. I thought everything was complicated. I was stuck in my ego. I had all these limiting beliefs. I thought everything was hard and everything was complicated and everything was just, the lawyer in me was questioning everything and the critical thinker in me was questioning everything, and everything was just complicated. It's like the best way to put it. Everything was complicated. And I sat in that conference, and there was a woman, her name was Marissa Peer. And she said something that resonated, affected me, and I think changed my life. Well, I know it changed my life. She said, we think that just because our brains are complicated, that the solutions have to be complicated too. But they don't have to be complicated. She was talking about the power of using affirmations in your life. She was saying that the way you speak into the world and speak to your subconscious changes the way that you behave and changes your personal reality. Now, at the time, I had my soulmate and best friend in the world, my soul sister, Betsy, adamant about affirmations. She used affirmations. I saw her use affirmations. She was always talking about affirmations. We were training for a marathon, and every morning she'd wake up and she'd come to our run and she would say like, oh, I love running and I love being a morning person. And she would, speak this new reality into existence. And I thought it was just, I kind of thought it was fluff. I didn't really buy into it. I didn't believe it. I'd be like, you're just lying to yourself and to everyone around you. We know you're not a morning person. We know you don't love running, but whatever, more power to you. And I kind of didn't buy the whole affirmations story. But here was this psychologist that was speaking into the same concepts that my best friend had been talking to me about forever and ever and ever. But that one sentence made sense. She said, just because our brains are complicated doesn't mean that our solutions have to be complicated too. And in that moment, I thought, what if it could be simple? What if it could be simple? And I thought, well, maybe I should just try it. So I got home and I started listening to more of Marissa Peer's work. I listened to some of her interviews. I listened to some of her meditations on YouTube. I kind of started digging a little bit more. And I decided to start using affirmations in my life. So I'd wake up in the morning and I would write affirmations. Affirmations that I felt I wanted to step into. Affirmations of the identity I wanted to create. Affirmations of the future I wanted to have. Affirmations of the business I wanted for myself. And I did that. And here's what happens in life. Sometimes we start making changes in our life and we want the results to be immediate, but results are not always immediate. right? I mean, sometimes things take a long time to turn into something else, and you may have like some immediate gratification, but in reality, change is a delayed gratification kind of experience. So I started writing these affirmations, and I did see some immediate results. But it wasn't until I was sitting in the conference this year that everything clicked in my brain. All of it. Because that same friend of mine, Betsy, called me last week and said, I was listening to your podcast, and I don't think I've ever told you this, but something that you do really, really well is you create lessons with simplicity. Like simplicity is your superpower. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, simplicity is your superpower because you have these like simple concepts in your podcast and simple stories and simple like real talk that is simple to apply and simple to follow. And she's like, you do these things and they're simple, but they create this like great life. And I think it's like easy for people to understand and follow it because of how simple it is. Like it's not complicated. And I laughed in that moment because I was like, I thought I'm the queen of overthinking and overcomplicating everything. And then I realized I hadn't quite updated my identity. So she said that to me. And just a couple days later, I was sitting at the conference and it clicked. I remembered. You see, in 2019, someone planted a seed in my brain and said, what if this could be simple? And I decided that I would try it. I went for it. I'm going to think a little more simply. I'm going to accept that maybe it can be simple. I'm going to use these affirmations that she talks about, and then I'm going to just continue living. And I continued living in my, what I thought was complicated world, but I started to create differently. I started to create programs, create a community, create a business, just change everything. Like everything. I changed everything. I started creating my own affirmations, writing them, sharing them with my community. I spent, you guys, 2 years writing daily affirmations for my community. Affirmations that changed people's lives because of that one interaction, that one moment that I had with this lady, Marissa Peer, at the Summit of Greatness. And I didn't get the memo until Betsy gave me that comment, and I was sitting at Summit of Greatness in 2024. I didn't get the memo that it worked. Like I kind of knew it worked because I've been living into this new existence, but I didn't really understand that it worked. That all of a sudden I had become someone who creates simplicity for other people. What? Is that even true? Is that part of my existence? Like, could it be true? Well, according to Betsy, it is. I don't know. I don't know if you would agree, but I started to realize that maybe it is true. And it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Granted, it's taken 5 years. I've been doing all this work. I've been stepping into this new identity, but I'm here. And I don't know. It was just like, oh my God. So here is what I have to share with you. What if your change doesn't have to be so complicated? What if it doesn't have to be so hard? What if it could be simple? As simple as accepting and believing that it could be simple. As simple as using affirmations to create a different identity. As simple as living into an existence and an identity that you want to step into? What if it could be simple? That's my question for you today. That's what I invite you to consider. And on this simply soulful September Sunday, on this first day of fall, what if your one takeaway is that your life can be more simple? It doesn't have to be that hard. So that's how I'm feeling today. That's what I wanted to share. If you want to dive into this, if you want to know more about this simplicity and about how to actually cultivate this, then I invite you to book a consult with me. Let's talk about it, because I think it could change your life, like completely and totally change your life. That's what I have for you. Now, I also want to share that our next experience together is coming up in just 4 weeks from today. On 4 Sundays from today, on October 20th, we will begin RejuvaFast, which is a 5-day mimic fast that I host with my dear friend and partner, Dr. Sanchez. And we create a beautiful, simple, and soulful mimic fast experience to reconnect you to your bliss, to your health, to your body, to your soul, to your clarity. We created experience to allow you to give yourself a kickstart, to do a reset, to detox, to activate autophagy in your body. It's like this beautiful experience, and it's coming up in 4 weeks. So, as a kickstart to this next 4 weeks of anticipation before RejuvaFast, I'm doing something that I think is super fun and exciting. I have created a raffle this week that you get to enter and participate for to win one of 3 amazing prizes. So, one of the prizes is, of course, access to the RejuvaFast October fast with us from October 20th to the 25th. So you'll get a free admission into that. That would be great. And you get to participate and just transform your life in 5 days, which is awesome. And also there's 2 other prizes. One of them is it's a seat at the event Spark. That event is hosted by my friend Luli B. It's on November 5th. I have a VIP table that I purchased for very important people in my life, and I invite them to sit with me at this event, and I have a seat available. So I will raffle out one of the seats. And lastly, I am offering a Spark of Bliss coaching session. And this is a 60-minute coaching session with me, either walking or Zoom. And it's like a clarity session where you can coach with me, which is actually a really exciting thing because I don't work with people on one-time sessions anymore. I actually only work with you for 6 months. So for somebody that has wanted to do a session with me, this is a great opportunity to enter this raffle and be able to win that one session. That would be very fun. So the only thing you have to do, hopefully it's super simple, is rate and review the podcast wherever it is that you listen to the podcast. So if you listen to it on Apple's or you listen to it on Spotify, then I invite you to rate and review, take a screenshot of the rating or the review, and email it to admin@carolinedeposada.com. Again, it's admin@carolinedeposada.com. And you have from today, Sunday, all the way until Thursday to submit this review. It would be Thursday, September 26th, so that I can draw the winners on Friday. And on Sunday, I will announce the winners of one of the 3 prizes, whether it's RejuvaFast or a Spark of Bliss session or a seat at the Luli B's Spark event. So this is very exciting. It's something fun. To me, I feel like this September month has been just, I don't know. I'm telling you guys, this Simply Soulful September theme has really stuck with me. It's really done something with me. Every once in a while, I have a theme that is just like a real kicker. It's just incredible. And this is one of them. And I don't know, I'm going to have to take this with me into future months because I've loved it. It's really gotten me in a great mindset for the month and for life and for everything. Okay, so that's all I got for you. I hope you have a sacred Sunday. I hope you enter the raffle and that you get excited about this next quarter. We're starting the last quarter of the year of 2024, and I want it to be inspiring and exciting and fun and also meaningful in all of the best ways. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next week. That's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for being here. I am deeply, deeply grateful for this time to connect. If you're loving this podcast, I'd love if you could support me by subscribing, rating, and or leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Those reviews help us so much. And if you know of someone who could really use a voice like mine in their head, please share this with them and let them know how much you care about their bliss. Now, if you are feeling called to dig deeper and really work on elevating your mindset, wellness, and your relationships to create a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life, then I invite you to schedule a 60-minute complimentary consultation with me. Let's have a meaningful conversation and see if working together is in our future. You can find the link to the calendar of consults right there in my show notes, but you can also connect with me on my website, carolinedeposada.com, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Caroline de Posada. Like my friend always says, the project is big and you're a part of it. So thanks for being here.